Pee Wee Herman.
Oh shoot! Wait a minute! It's too early for Pee Wee Herman. Too early for the. Ain't he in the same category as Jerk from Subway? Hey. Certain days, celebrities is a different animal.
Yeah.
I keep trying to tell y'all. Y'all better be careful what type of celebrity y'all want to be when y'all get to that celebrity status, because celebrities come in all shapes and sizes and all kinds of stuff.
The kind that's not known.
And some of that stuff, like I said, it's a different world. It's a different world out there, fellas. Anyway, Pee Wee Herman.
Crack is whack.
First of all, Pee Wee Herman. First of all, I ain't heard from what's old boy's name in real life? Herman. What's his real name? It's not Pee Wee Herman. His real name is Herman something. I forgot his last name.
First of all, how did we get on this?
This man said Pee Wee Herman.
Why? How did we get here to Pee Wee Herman? What's this
Because
about?
he just dropped it in here. We're gonna roll with it.
Okay.
We're gonna figure this
I
out
just need a
together.
little bit more clarification because I do want
We
We just said Pee Wee Herman. I'm like, okay,
This is the
is
clarification.
there a story behind this?
No, ain't no
Okay.
story. Ain't no trash
It's like,
story.
Because you know he ain't here
What's the-
anymore.
So Pee Wee Herman was known
So
for
he can't sue.
Pee Wee Herman was known for the dance, the tequila, right?
Don't do that.
Now, why was the brothers at the club trying to?
Because that was the breakdancer era. They were trying to
Nah,
do that.
it was no reason in the world that anybody should have been doing the Pee Wee Herman and nobody's club. Anyway,
Imagine they do a remix right now and they be
That's-
making the TikTok
yeah,
video.
the
I can-
TikTok. First of all, that would be a
I can see that.
That would be a crazy TikTok event.
Do the
Somebody started
taco.
that. Somebody started doing it.
The Pee Wee
and
Herman
doing it,
dance.
and all you got to do was just let's say they did the Pee Wee Herman song, but like trap it up.
Yeah, I can see that the remix.
Then have the girls be. You know how the girls be coming out the line. They be doing. Nah, I'm gonna tell you right now. It'd be too much butt shaking if you did that.
That'd be an interesting thing. Welcome to 2025. We have Pee Wee Herman Trap House.
Oh my God! You know what the kicker is? Man, I hope nobody tries to steal this idea. But that would be crazy if that would actually be the next trend that starts up. Because nobody's even thought about that. It's funny enough where people who's old school would actually know and understand the Pee Wee Herman and the dance and stuff. And there's actually a hip hop song called the Pee Wee Herman, by the way, that people don't know about. There's a hip hop version of the Pee Wee Herman song. I forgot who did it. Don't quote me. I don't remember the person who did it. But there's a hip hop version of the Pee Wee Herman song that was done in like '92 or somewhere in that area. Don't ask me why I know that.
Why you know that?
Because I'm old.
Anyway,
Now that we got our vocals warmed up,
Anyway, let's go ahead and we're gonna get right to we're gonna go to the intro this time because last time I said skip the intro, but we'll go to a proper intro this time. You know who we be, PVC Podcast Crew. Checking right back in, which I know it's been a minute before we since we've done some content. But we back at it. You know how we get down. We got a few things we want to get some topics off. But before we get to the topics, this man ain't sat up here. He got his shine on today. I see he's trying to shine today. We can see.
I just love it.
See, I see. Here's what I don't understand. See, this is why I don't be trying to wear my stuff to the function. See, if I started wearing my stuff to the function,
you're gonna get robbed.
no, I ain't getting robbed.
That's what they all say.
I ain't getting robbed. I ain't getting robbed.
that's what they all say. Break yourself.
Now, first of all, that is what they all say before he gets stripped down bucket naked and be like,
You get you one of the Debo type. You gonna give me that chain
I
one
know.
way or another.
That's what I'm saying. You got to get off of it one way or another. Anyway.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
I am a pig.
I'm a boy.
Oh my God.
Oh, thank God it's Friday.
Why?
For real.
Oh man.
Thank God it's
too
Friday.
early.
Thank
Oh,
God
Happy
it's
Friday.
Oh, it's too early for y'all. Anyway, you know how we do it right around this time. Paul, say what's up to the people.
What's up, people? Back at the table with my brothers here on a lovely topic and a lovely day. I didn't know where this conversation was going, but it turned out pretty good. Got a kick out of it. But other than that, it's a blessing and honor to be back here with my brothers. So I'm going to pass it over to Vic. Vic, say what's up to the people.
Oh, good morning, everyone. Good to be back here with the PVC Podcast Crew with my brothers Cameron and Paul on this lovely Friday morning with a nice overcast. We do hope you enjoy this episode. We do hope that you choose to like and subscribe, and that you remember, most importantly, you don't have to like
the
it.
page.
To like
the
it.
page. That's
Just
gonna be good
above
on a t-shirt.
You press it, you help us. You don't, we find you.
With the PVC.
Anyway.
You don't like to have to like the
Let the
PVC.
man talk. You jumping in.
No. I just had to rhyme it out. I'm trying to think. I'm picturing some.
He's got his shine. It's okay.
That's what I'm saying. He's shining. He got one on each wrist. It's all right though. So I got what? See, I got wait. So when it was wait. Before we get to my, when did we not establish it was watch day? This man got his watch on. He got his watch on. I'm up here, knowing I got flossy watches. I could have said it was watch day today. I could have brought like my custom fossil or something.
Well,
I could have brought like the brought the diamond encrusted out.
You pull out your.
We was gonna do watch game day.
You're gonna pull out your sundial.
Y'all can't tell a kid that it's
I know
watch
you
day.
got something in the car.
I'm not even trying to run to the car to go get the shine. I'm like, I gotta tell a kid something now. Next time,
say it's shiny day.
That's what I'm saying. Next time, baby, we're gonna do watch day. We're gonna do watch day. We're gonna do like Cuban link day. We're gonna do Cuban. Y'all tell a kid something.
Fresh tea day.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But before we do all that,
we're gonna do the fresh white tea day.
Cameron.
That's back in the day. Fresh Pope Club.
Tell them why you're called Cameron.
Hey, Cam, aka Nerd Boy Fresh.
Freaky.
Follow me on the gram and all that good stuff. Before we even get to the topics and whatnot, shout out to all of our affiliates, of course. Everybody who's been rocking along with us. Shout out to all of our subscribers, of course. Man, it's definitely a privilege and honor to have y'all rocking along. For the people who do watch us and crossing, please like the page. Please subscribe to the page. But if you want to get a little bit of a feel for what we do, definitely stick around. We got a couple of good topics of what we're going to drop off today. Now, here's how we're going to start. Here's the first thing. I know y'all want us to talk about the court case with the Diddy stuff. I'm going to pause that for a week. We're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about that next week. There is a reason and a logic behind that. But I know there's a lot of stuff we want to talk about in regards to that, but we're going to pop that for a week.
It's on the back burner.
But don't think we're not going to address it, because as a PVC podcast crew, we do address certain topics, especially if they're hot button topics. We're just going to address it once we get a little bit more information out, let them kind of run through the court case a little bit more, and then we're going to address thoughts, styles, opinions, and stuff in regards to that. But two topics. One thing that Vic was saying when we were rolling up here, and I kind of like this topic. What's the slang terms that still are good today that was said way back in the day?
5 years ago.
10 years ago. I don't care. There's a lot of stuff that's been said, that's been slang, that still could be said today, and it still be just fine. Now, there's certain slang that you can't say anymore.
That's a damn good question.
I know it's a goodie.
Wow.
I know it's a goodie.
So what slang?
What slang words that you said back in the day that's good now? I got one, and I will start here. Fresh. Because the slang for fresh has been since the 70s. People forget. Man, you looking real fresh right now. Everything's fresh right now. That's back in the day when your mamas was wearing the bell bottoms with the big buffalo, with the big pointed shirts. When they wore their real hair, which was fro, that era. The pre horsehair era. When they used to wear fros and stuff. When they wasn't really wearing shine like that, unless you was a dealer. When they used to wear like black medallions, no gold. Shout out to De La Soul, of course.
So I was just gonna say De La Soul.
that era. But the slang term they used to always say was fresh, and you can say that even to this day, and it still would work.
Well, because everyone wants to be fresh.
Exactly. Ain't nobody
That's me.
Um,
I'm just so fresh.
so fresh and so clean. You know, it's still relevant. And that's a term that's been relevant. What's some other ones?
Fresh. For me, you guys have heard me say this enough times you can catch it. The phrase solid.
Solid, yep. Solid.
Oh, because it's like, that's what you want things to be, solid.
Mm-hmm.
You want a solid relationship, you want a solid job, you want solid friends, you want sometimes solid food. You know. But the whole thing is like, if you ain't solid, you soggy. Who wants to be soggy?
If you ain't solid, you soggy. Boy, that's a t-shirt. That's a catchphrase for itself. If you ain't solid, you soggy.
Now, I know someone would say, well, why soggy and not soft? Because people can be comfortable being soft.
That's a fact.
Ain't no uncomfortable soggy.
That's a fact. I like
Preaching,
that. That's
man.
a fact. That's fact. Come on now, we waiting on you.
I gave you 30 seconds.
Alright. What up, though?
What up,
What
though?
up, though? What up, though? Well, that's kind of a...
No.
No. That's
It's
kind of
a
like
slang.
it is a slang
It's a
phrase.
It's a slang term.
It is a slang term. See, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
What did you think he was going to say?
What you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were going to say something like a buster.
No, I knew. I was gonna keep that for last.
Yeah, I thought
You
you were
thought
going
he
to
was
say
going to
something
say,
like that.
boss.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say you a buster. Because that's a phrase that you...
I got one.
Keep going. Come on.
Punk.
Yeah,
Punk
is
is
a good one.
timeless.
Yeah,
Put
punk
no
is
punk,
timeless.
but it's still getting used. Cause
Yeah.
back in my,
Nah, we can go back.
we can go
Well,
back.
hey,
in.
what's
What up? What's up, punk? What you trying to do, punk?
Yeah. No, more importantly, you feeling lucky, punk. Hey, anybody who knows some movies,
Julius, punks.
That's a good one.
Shout
I
out
like that.
It's a, I got to know it.
Punk was one. You already.
All right, what's all right? Let me get comfy for a minute. I got one. All right,
I'll do one more.
let me switch it up a little bit.
I'll do one more.
Go ahead.
I'll do one more.
I got one.
This was personally because I was watching movies I shouldn't have when I was too young. Primarily, Army of Darkness.
Okay, I was about to say.
Okay, because the way you emphasize that,
You got it, boy. You got to preface that, boy.
you said that with pride.
Because, boy, no, it's not that. Because
Hey, I was
you got to
watching
be.
movies I should have been
In
watching.
this day and age, you got to be real specific. I watched something I wasn't supposed to. You can't just leave it off with.
But go ahead.
It's too broad of a
But
thing.
anyway.
Go ahead.
Speaking of broads, no.
We're going to go there.
I'm not going
Speaking of that, that's
But
a
no,
slang
no,
too.
seriously, broads.
That's a slang too.
But the phrase, not the phrase, but the word groovy.
Groovy?
Now, to me, obviously not a lot of people really use it, but to me personally, it's a very timeless phrase to describe something. Primarily because to me it's so iconic, and it can only be used in the most appropriate of times. You can't use it casually. Groovy can only be used when there's weight to the subject or to the situation. You can't sit there, have a decent burger, and say, yeah, that was groovy. That doesn't work, right? But when you're stuck in medieval times and you got a double-barrel shotgun, that's groovy.
You know what's crazy about that? Because I think the term groovy kind of just recently lost its not luster, but it kind of recently lost its slang. Because you would use it, but it just wouldn't be like one of those things that you would hear out on the coast. If that makes sense. You probably would still hear it in the Midwest from time to time, but in certain aspects.
Or certain songs.
Know who say groovy? Fruity people. They do.
Really not.
And if that's what's it. It's one of those things that is situational because it's synonymous to them. Why? Groovy, 70s music, I'm coming out, that type of stuff. Yeah.
So
it's synonymous to them.
Okay, so the fruit salad people. Okay.
Yeah, but keep going. Come on. We wait on you.
Tight. That's Tight.
That's tight. Yeah, that's
tight,
pretty
tight.
timeless. That's pretty timeless.
It's funny how a lot of slang, it works because it has a direct opposite,
That's true.
right? Where if you ain't tight, it's loose, and if it's loose, it's gonna fall apart.
First of all,
That's your own fault, Paul. I didn't say anything.
First of all, he ain't wrong.
No, I'm not laughing at that.
Secondly,
I'm laughing just that the words came out of his mouth like that.
hey, he ain't
He's
wrong.
wrong with that.
He ain't wrong.
Grown man, that's a grown man slang.
Yeah, he ain't
I gotta
wrong.
give you that,
Tight is good. That's actually a one that's been around for a long
yeah,
time
because
too.
if I can emphasize on that one, because you can use it in certain things like, man, that movie I just watched the other day, man, that was so tight.
Mm-hmm. Cause you can say that to this day.
Man, that game is tight, dog.
Yeah, because you can say that to this day, and it will still work, and people will still know exactly what you're talking about.
Here's
now.
Well, go ahead.
Tight.
Not tights. Not tights.
Now you gotta cut it off quick.
I know
Tight.
your
What
tight.
about bread?
Bread.
Yeah.
Get your bread up.
Get your bread up.
Bread.
Like
Bread.
anything that's in regards to money, I think still kind of holds weight. The only one that doesn't probably hold weight now is probably cheddar.
Cheddar, I was just gonna say
That's
cheddar.
the only
Really?
one.
I was
That's
just
the
gonna say
only
cheddar.
one. That's the only one that
Really?
you can. I mean, you.
I got one. Skrilla.
Yeah, I was gonna say cheddar or Skrilla. So probably the
Skrilla.
only two.
What about
I'm on my
cabbage?
Skrilla.
Huh?
Cabbage.
You don't really hear that anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's probably the worst one.
Unless you do the cabbage patch.
Because cheddar, anything in regards to food, cheddar, except for bread. Cheddar,
Skrilla.
cabbage,
Dough.
Yeah.
dough.
Yeah.
You don't hear dough anymore. Green, you gotta get some green, because anybody who's out of the hood, they have to always change the slang for money because when people.
What about the phrase, get your licks?
First of all, let me start with this. Pause. Secondly, I know what he means. Like, get your licks in, like,
yeah.
swing on. They don't say that anymore because now if you say that, people will take that the wrong way. Certain phrases, because of the culture and the era that we in, certain things you can't really say without it being taken the wrong way. It'll be taken out of context.
So, like a lot of things, they ruin.
Mollywop.
Mollywop, that's an old school one. You don't really hear that anymore. You'll hear it, you'll hear it on a rare occasion from an old school person, but you don't hear no young people say that. So,
Fade.
Catch the Fade is still around. That's been around for a minute. Catch the Fade. But that's more of a 2000s slang. That's not like a 90s thing. That was more like a.
Oh, you want me to go to 90s? My bad.
No, that's not. No.
No, we're doing every era.
Every era. But I'm saying that started in 2000. But that one's gonna stick around for a while. Cause you still hear the, hey, we gotta go outside and catch the Fade, or we gotta get a fair one.
You gotta get it down.
No, we gotta catch a fair one.
It's that friendly.
We gotta catch a friendly. Catch
See
a
me,
friendly.
homie.
You gotta see me, or the heater. Anybody who's seen American History X,
Got that
you
thing
don't
on
want
me.
to see me.
You don't want to see me.
Oh,
I got
the
that bottle.
heater.
I got that strap on me.
Yeah, strap. The strap would be one. Everybody knows that
You
strap
know
would
what's
stick around for a while.
fascinating about this, about slang in general, is that obviously we're all English speakers and we're speaking about English slang. But what's funny is it's a language within a language, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it has a clear translation, but it's spoken that way so people who don't speak it don't understand what you're talking about.
True.
It's a form of being, hiding in plain sight, if you will.
Correct.
You know.
The reason why slang was always established was basically to not have everybody involved in your conversation. And the reason why that it was mainly like the black culture that had to do it, because it was their only way, because you couldn't really hide what you were saying in English because everybody understood English. Black people don't have, like, especially black-born Americans, don't have a second language to turn to. Obviously, a lot of people could turn to Spanish, tag along if you speak Filipino, Chinese, Korean, whatever it may be, German, whatever it may be. But if you were born an American and you were black, you don't have an alternate language to turn to. So the alternate language was, quote unquote, Ebonics is what's coined as. Basically, it's just slang term. The slang is so bad now. You got a slang dictionary to figure it out.
You can literally look it up.
There's There's been so many words that's been flipped to slang that you have to actually look up a stinking dictionary to figure out what the slang is. That tells you how evolved slang terms has been. And I'm not even talking about all like the real hood stuff, like the stuff that gang, drug, all that. We ain't talking about that. And part of the reason why a lot of this slang came up is because of that. Because they had to mask what they were talking about. Because you'll hear somebody on their 5-minute call from behind bars. I need to do. Hey, I need you to do the woo wop, the this, and they'll say it in slang. And then the other person on the line be like, okay, and an officer would think that, oh, what are you talking about? Some regular stuff, not knowing that they done conducted a whole deal, a bid to get somebody off. They're doing Diddy deals. You snitching. They're doing Diddy deals. And nobody would know that because everything is in slang and is in code. But here's the thing. What's the worst? You said what's the worst slang term? Because you asked the statement earlier in the card. It's a good question. What is the worst slang term made? The worst one. What's the worst slang term?
It's too many.
Pick one. What's the worst one? I'll let y'all go first. I already got the answer.
Let me think.
The worst slang term.
Personally?
Yes, the worst one.
No, I know. Personally, because it doesn't really work and it didn't really last long in its terms of use because it died off pretty quickly, is the phrase fat with the PH. Because it sounds just like fat, and you always had to explain with the PH.
No, hey, no. I mean, at the time.
Shut up. Shut up. Don't explain that.
No. Can I get the fat? Because for all the youngest who don't understand this term, this is for the kids who's maybe like 22 and younger. We always used to call girls fat, and the reason why we came up with fat because it was our way of sideways clowning because. We do see I'm gonna put hey ladies I'm gonna put y'all up on something. Y'all gonna have to mind this.
Hey, you're not gonna use
no. So the reason why we used to all say, oh, you fat, because we knew what would happen if we said something like that. We would get an instant reaction from a girl, especially if they were pretty or whatnot. Like, you fat. Who you calling fat? No, you're fat. Fat? Why are you calling me fat? I'm gonna do this. I got brothers and all this stuff. No. No. Yeah, no. Now then they didn't want to start mouthing off. But what do we got? I got their whole attention, right? I got the girls' attention even though I'm clowning, and I know I'm clowning. You fat. Yeah, you fat. You fat.
What movie was that from?
I forgot what movie that was from. Hold
on.
The Wood. Oh yeah, The Wood. But it was like, no, with a PH.
Pretty high.
What's that? Yeah, pretty hot and tempting. So they were like, then the girls be like, you stupid. Then they'll be laughing and going away. But guess what we got? And they was like, hey, no, they will get the girl. Hey, come back. Let me get your number real quick. Let me holler at you later.
What's your beeper number?
Yeah. That's how it was. But that's where PH. So I get it. And you're not wrong. And it didn't hold weight. But it was a way to get conversation out of a girl. Because we knew we would get a rise out of a girl if we said that. But it's a bad one. It's bad. But
I would say it's probably one of the shortest lived.
But it had context. And it was using a bunch of, and keep in mind that was using a bunch of, there was y'all remember the movie Fat Girls?
Yeah. I don't think Victor knows.
Watch the movie Fat Girls.
I haven't watched that.
No, watch the movie. It's a trash movie, but it has some funny points. Monique is in there. I forgot old girl. She had just passed away just recently. And somebody.
Old girl from Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But anyway, fat girls, PHAT girls. Wasn't it Holly? No, was that Holly Berry in that movie? Take that back.
No, Holly Berry. It was
What was the one with
It was
Holly?
what's the name from Three Strikes? He was in there.
Yeah, it was Brian Hooks.
Brian Hooks. He was in there, and I
What was
think
that movie with?
Coolio was in it.
Cause wasn't that the movie where they had Holly Berry trying to look all hood with the gold tooth and we?
Nah, that was Babs.
Babs. Yeah.
I know that movie.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
No, but fat girls, PHAT girls. Hey, y'all girls know what it was. And some of y'all, and some of y'all ain't. And I'm gonna say, can I be honest? No, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that today.
How are you gonna ask to be honest and then not?
I ain't gonna. I'm gonna be honest, but
he ain't trying to
I rescind my offer. I rescind the
He
honesty.
ain't trying to get that phone call later.
no, forget a phone call. I ain't trying to catch the fade.
Oh, that was a good one. Catch my fade.
Anyway, what's the worst slang?
Yeah, it's your turn, Paul. Speak up.
That's a good one though. I like it. That's
one.
a goodie.
I got nothing on that one.
Come on,
I really have to think about that. You go ahead on that one.
All right, I'm gonna tell y'all the worst slang, and I know y'all gonna hate it, but it's the worst slang ever invented. It's for a completely different reason, and people are going to disagree.
Say it.
For the brotherhood, I apologize, and I'm sorry.
Say
the
it with
worst
the
slang ever made was nigga.
You know, I was gonna say it.
That's the worst slang. You can't say that one. Sorry,
I said
I know. You can't. That's why I said leave that. Yeah, I got leave that one to me.
But I got the beanie.
Bro, yeah. Oh my God, this one here.
Oh,
the worst slang made is nigger because here's the problem. It always had bad connotation, and I don't care what any black person say about it.
Cracker.
Because, like I said, stuff like that, nigga and cracker and chink are the three worst slangs ever made.
And Jew.
Because when it comes to that, it was said in a way that was bad and wrong, and I don't care what any black person say. Even though y'all may say it to each other, y'all still say it in a way to each other that still connotates a bad thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Y'all, even though y'all try to devalue, we're gonna take it away and use it for ourselves. But y'all refer to yourselves as, "What this nigga?" You know, that's what it said. So y'all still use it in a negative way. So it's the worst slang made, even though y'all try to make light of it. It's still the worst slang made. And then y'all got to the point when y'all got people on other races using it just willy-nilly and thinking that it's cool. And you got a younger generation that calls each other Asian people. This nigga's here. Really?
So, and so basically, in terms of, in an attempt to normalize, it just bastardized.
Yes. And it's still the worst slang made. It was used bad from the jump. It's still used bad to this day. It will stick around forever because we are a generation of people that allowed it to be, and then you allowed everybody else to say it and think that it was cool because y'all don't want to check people and stop using it yourselves.
Now, Cameron, now what would you tell the people who might be saying to their phones, realizing we can't hear them because this is a pre-recorded video, what would you say to them who say, well, it's all in the tone?
It doesn't matter about tone. It's still used bad because when you use it, even when you're talking with other people, it's always in a position where it's going to be negative. The only time you'll hear like, well, that's my nigga. You ain't saying that that's my dog, that's my people, that's my family. That's my nigga. Really?
Like a plantation.
Exactly. And then you get the conversation of, yeah, that's my nigga, but he a house nigga. He in the field nigga. Do we really want to have this? I wasn't really trying to have this conversation. I really wasn't.
But we are.
But we kind of dipped down the rabbit hole a little bit, kind of sideways. I didn't mean to go there, so we're going to go there. We ain't talking. Can I talk to y'all niggas? Come on. No, but seriously.
I feel like you've been waiting to get that off your chest.
No, I've not been waiting to get this off my chest. This kind of came. This kind of came in sideways. But here's the problem. If y'all the worst slang made. Now here's the thing. We say that about black people because we can. But we can. But if you told a white person the same thing about the term cracker, it's the shut up. That's the problem.
Very mature, right?
That's the problem because they will say the same thing. Literally, they will tell you it's the worst. They will tell you that that's the worst slang ever made.
Well, you always
an Asian person would say something like "chink." It's the worst thing made. Jewish people ain't gonna say being called a Jew because that's not really slang to them. That's just a short version of what they already are. They don't care about that.
But the thing about it is I remember hearing about
or wetbacks. Yes, that too.
Okay, so the thing about it is. So, speaking of that, you always hear those who say, well, how come you can say it but we can't?
How come you can say it because we can't? The problem is
no one should.
That's the problem. No one should be saying it. This should have stopped. That slang should have been stopped in the 70s. But see, everybody tried to normalize all these words, or they want to use it in regards to, well, if I want to get a rise out of a person, what's the quickest way to get their attention?
Yeah, nigga.
That. Or talk to a white person. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. Funny, but I'm trying to establish a point though.
You're making a good point of view because in general you hear it all the time. I mean, hell, you still hear it in schools and people. I seen stuff transparent badly just by using that word in the wrong scenario in the wrong place at the wrong time. Because people, they take that word and they just think it's just freely to express it all the time. And then when you get around some real...
No, it's not. But see, that's the problem. That's the problem.
And that's the problem. Because right there.
Because you refer to them as real niggas.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to call them real niggas.
That's the point. They ain't real.
Those are just real gangsters. Real street dudes. Real this. They ain't... Calling them niggas is just saying they're just real
nice fellas.
Yeah, they're just. That's what I'm saying. And so what's it? But I'm like saying because basically niggas is just like a black person. So don't scratch that, y'all. We here. We here.
Now you got me saying it freely. Now you got me saying it freely now.
See,
and today was supposed to be a good day.
No, you just established my point. Now, see how
now you catching me slip off guard.
No, see, that's my point. Because if you're so freely to say it, why can't you? You got it. Yeah, it's gonna be a long day for y'all. Y'all gonna be thinking about this and y'all sleep. It's cool.
I hope your volume's all the way up.
Yes, listen to this thorough. Because he been trying to sneak in this. He been trying to sneak this in all day. But here's my point though. My point is this: we always try to define each other by our race, and when we try to say it in a negative way, that we know that that's the way to get somebody's attention. That white boy over there. That Asian one there. That's the way we do it. And then when we start using it in slang terms, then it becomes a problem because we know when we start using those terms, typically it was going to respond to a conversation or a fight. That's really what it comes down to. Now, here's the problem that I have when people start using these slang terms. Now, we use the word nigga too freely because here's what you got now. Second grader, up in the class, talking amongst the people, talking to his friends and stuff. They little kids, right? Black kid talking to a white boy. Shut up, nigga. It's the term that comes out. Black kid says it to the white boy. White boy says it to the black kid. Nigga, you want you to be quiet. Now it's a fight. The reason why I use that nice example, that's a real world example, by the way, because that does happen. And then you got parents coming up to the school. Well, why'd your son call my kid a nigga? When he was only responding to the black kid who called him a nigga first.
Yeah, but you know.
No.
I know where you get that.
No. Let me.
You been no time out, because you been around too long to see what transparency even with that because you see how that word just things just escalated right then and there. But then like you just clarified, like you only saying it just because you responded to it. But now you getting upset because when the other ethnic say it back to you, but he didn't say it first.
Listen to me clearly. Let me fly this home real quick.
Now you don't like it.
Yeah, let me fly this home. You got a 6-year-old kid saying it to a 6-year-old kid.
Where do you think they learned it?
Your parents is okay with y'all saying it, right? So you got both of them in school, and they both saying it to each other freely. Kids, 6-year-olds. Nah, I'll give you one better. So y'all playing Call of Duty, right? y'all playing Call of Duty.
Wait. Let's go back to the generation of games, okay? Let's go back to the...
No.
So let's talk about, we was playing some Sega Genesis.
No.
So you're playing Donkey Kong, right?
I'm trying to land the point. You're playing Call of Duty, and y'all hear these kids freely say it over, talking to some grown men. Nigga this, nigga that, nigga. This is why grown people don't like playing Call of Duty anymore. Because you got a lot of kids who like to run off at the mouth, and they use it so freely because they hear their parents or their brothers or their cousins or somebody in there let them say it freely, and they didn't pop them in the mouth for saying it. Because before, when you would say it back in the 90s, goes back to your 90s point, like, oh, in the Donkey Kong era or in the Sega Genesis era. No, we didn't say that in the Sega Genesis era. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you said it during that era,
especially at your grandma's house,
I don't care. I don't care if you said it with your brother or your cousin in tow. You were getting backhand. If my little cousin said that in front of me, I'm promising you, they got the 5 fingers of death coming through, and I'm gloving them on me, and they know it too. Why? Because you have to set the precedent that ain't cool. If you start setting the tone that ain't cool, because if I glove you for it, if I have to put the 5 fingers of death on you.
This is getting real serious. Can't pump, nigga.
Because if I have to put the 5,
say it with your chest.
If I have to put the 5 fingers of death on you, and you family, what am I gonna do if somebody who says it out of pocket who ain't family? That means I'm gonna slap lava rocks out of them, right? Because I'm gonna slap lava rocks out of my own family for saying it, right?
Slap them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Show you how to slap them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't let the small frame fool you. And I told you. Didn't I tell y'all I'm the Diet Coke hood?
You didn't hear him earlier. You said you ain't gonna get robbed.
That's what I'm saying. We ain't doing that.
Ooh,
no, but the reason why I say that because Super Rock, I always said that is the worst type of slang that we've always established. All that other stuff, cheddar, bread, all that stuff. Yes, they all used in context. Some of it was used in bad context. Some of it used in good context. But it's in context where it's not like it's going to be harmful or detrimental.
Po is a bad slang to use.
But Po is a terrible one. Like, sounds kind of bad too.
It is.
But anyway, I just wanted to, it was a topic that we had in the car, and I wanted to get that off. It was actually a good one. Didn't mean to go down the rabbit hole. That wasn't the intent. But y'all did it. But it's cool. All right. Since we got that out the way, what else we want to talk about? Oh, can we talk about 2 minutes? We got one. I'm gonna let you get your topic off. I want to talk about your topic too. But let me talk about this. I got one more thing to get off. This is what I need to get off my chest real quick for the podcast people. Especially my gamers. Can I talk to my gamers for like 5 seconds? Gamers are some liars. Y'all some liars. All right, so Nintendo do this whole little thing about raising the prices of everything $200. So Nintendo Switch 2 is one from $300 and now it's like $500, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody on social media like, it's high. I ain't gonna pay it. The games are too high. Why when they first dropped the pre-orders for them things, the lines were wrapped around the building. They couldn't even, y'all was all up in GameStop, all on the Nintendo page. Y'all begging us at the store. Y'all doing pre-orders and stuff.
Y'all line at GameStop up here.
Because they're trying to do pre-orders for the Switch too. Y'all some liars. Don't complain to me about stuff being high, and then y'all gonna still run out there and pay that high price tag.
Hey, can I get a discount, homie?
No, forget it. No. I know, but that's how people. That's how you know how many people that came to me.
Hey Cam, you got the hookup? Holla if you get
Cam, do that. That is the exact slang phrase that was said to me. Cam, do you have the hookup? Cause they know in certain things I'm the plug. I'm the one who got access.
I got it.
I'm the plug.
You the brother from Coming to America. I got what you need.
I'm the plug. I'm the one who got the access. But the gamers are some fools, right? So I don't want no. Here's the thing. I don't want no gamer to complain who bought the Switch 2 when it comes out in a couple of weeks or so. I don't want no gamers to complain about games being $90 and then games going forward. I don't want y'all to complain about GTA being $100. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I can complain because I'm not the one feeding into the narrative. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. If y'all been paying attention, like the Game Pass, if y'all start buying the cards for the Game Pass and stuff now, those moved up $10. They were $50 for 3 months. Now they're $60 for 3 months. They even have the cards to even show it. I wish I would have brought them with me and I didn't get a chance to bring it with me. They're already moving the price point up because they waited to see if the American market was going to do what Nintendo knew what y'all were going to do. Nintendo knew y'all were going to jump out of there and start pre-ordering. And then they said, well, the orders are not going as expected. No, they're only not going as expected in their home countries. In the U.S., because we're so gullible just about buying stuff for sake of buying stuff, we're the ones who gonna sit up there and be like, well, it's fine now, we're gonna spend it anyway. Really?
How can a nation with so many poor people have so much spending money?
No. Oh, God. We don't, man. I don't have enough time.
Is that why we have a national debt crisis?
Yes. But you want to know why we have a debt crisis? Because we make decisions like this. We'll talk about, oh, I don't have no money. I don't have no food money. But you're in line trying to pre-order for a $500 Switch 2 and a game for like $80. So that means you're down $600 knowing that your paycheck is only like $800 per 2 weeks. So out of your $800 that you get every 2 weeks, $600 of that's going to the Switch 2 that you already pre-ordered on. That's not guaranteed to get in your hands because if they don't have enough of them, you're going to have to wait anyway. That's why we have a debt crisis. Because we're so much in the thing about having to show money and not show wealth. What I mean by show wealth, because there's a lot of people who have money who don't show it. I don't have to show off change and stuff to prove wealth.
Hey, I was just listening.
I don't have to show that. All I have to do is really just pop open a wallet like I do for y'all every week and show y'all that I keep money in my pocket every week.
I was listening to something that Bertie Mac said. He said certain people, God rest his soul too, he'll say they'll say they ain't got no money for putting no food on the table, but they always dressing good the next day.
Right. The thing about
they'll let the light bill, they let the light shut off, but they ain't gonna miss that hair.
They ain't gonna mess up the high top fade.
Yep.
But they gonna have no lights on in their house.
Yeah.
Or they gonna starve and not eat for 3 days.
But you gonna get some J's.
Just to get you some J's, right? Mm-hmm. We talked about that before. Y'all can catch about 6-7 podcasts. But we talked about that. But that's the problem we have. The reason why we're in debt because we like to put money into the wrong things. We think that showing off gold and stuff is God, I don't want to do this conversation. I don't. I really don't. Cause we'll be here.
Gold fever.
Yeah, I don't want to do that because I don't want to talk about how money is the dangling point for everything. And then with girls, and with the guy pursuit of chasing girls, we talked about that. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to do that right now. I was trying to talk about something different, but I did want to prove the point that gamers don't talk. I don't want no gamer to talk to me about the Switch 2 prices. I don't want nobody to ask Cam, y'all have the hookup or the plug. I do. I am the only one who is tapped in at the building who knows when them joints is coming in and stuff. Don't ask me for nothing.
Oh damn! What's the cheat code?
Don't ask me for nothing. Don't try to slide me no extra bread. Don't try to give me no Nah.
Hey,
No.
Cam, hey, look at it.
Nah. I already. You do know I already have.
Look how many Franklins I got right here.
You
Cam.
do know how many people has. I got resellers literally hitting me and saying like, Cam,
I got a 20, 40, flip it.
No. I got people who was willing to slide me some bread. No. I know I'm plugged in. No. And don't talk to me about how much it costs when it comes out. I don't want to hear that either. Don't complain, man, this thing costs so much. Don't buy it.
I'm gonna get some Destra Mama Cam.
Don't buy it. I don't want to hear no parents complaining about how much it is. Nope, I don't want to hear it. Nah. Anyway, go ahead and get your topic out. I just want to get that off for like 5 minutes.
That was good.
Round it off with Paul's topic. What is it, brother?
Recently, I was so as everybody know, last week was my grandmother's anniversary of her being gone 18
Boy,
years.
speak up and talk to your grandmother with some sort of reverence and respect, man. Talk to your grandmother right.
Recently, last week, thank you.
What?
Recently, last week, it was 18 years of my grandmother being gone, and it was her birthday last Monday.
Okay.
Last Monday or Tuesday, yeah, the 20th. And I was thinking about I watched something on TV, and then it got me thinking. Do you recall the last conversation or the last interaction you had with your grandparents, or what's the last thing you learned from them?
That's two different questions.
So to make it simple,
So basically, okay.
So basically, we can address both of them.
Let me clarify this. So, do you remember the last conversation you had with your grandmother?
Yes, I do remember exactly the last things that my grandmother said before she passed. My grandfather is still living, by the way.
Okay.
And I do understand. I know exactly the last interaction I had with my grandmother. To the T. And it's been about 9 years removed, give or take. Easy. Take care of, she was like, she wanted to make sure that I was okay. That was the conversation. I want to make sure that you were doing fine, that you were okay and all this stuff, because it was right shortly thereafter, I was going through the divorce, was dealing with that, and it was right kind of thereafter in that pocket where she wanted to make sure that I was doing okay. It's like, baby, I want to make sure you're okay. So you're the oldest of the cousins, of course. I want to make sure you're fine. I want to make sure the kids are cool. That was literally the conversation piece. And my response was, Grandmommy, I'm fine. Everything is good. And even to this day, it's still the same thing, still holds true. My grandmother knows, and I know she looks down from heaven every day. Grandmommy, everything's good. Mom's good, sis good, the kids is doing great. Shout out to them too, of course. The family is doing really good. Yes, things has been different. That's a different conversation as far as like the interaction. We will address that in a little bit. As far as like how the family is now versus when she was alive, that is a completely different conversation because a lot of that has changed. But as far as like from an individual standpoint, my grandmother knows. She watches from heaven above. Everything's fine. She knows that. But that was the conversation I had with my grandma.
Vic?
So for me, my last interaction with my grandmother was not really an interaction on her part. This was when she was on an incubator. This was during the COVID years. It was during December, and she was on an incubator out cold. The only thing keeping her alive was that machine. So she was halfway. She was only at a half-life, and non-responsive, couldn't talk or anything. I just remember holding her hand and praying. That was the only thing I could do. Truth be told, it was the only thing worth doing worthwhile. That was the last interaction I had with her. Now, terms of words, it was difficult because of her state. Mentally, she was okay. She was able to recall, speak clearly, and all that. But her body was failing her to where she was just in so much pain. And it was really hard to help her or move her because anytime you tried to move her, she would quickly beg you to stop because it would hurt. Right. But it's not like you could just leave her on the floor. You know, it was difficult. It was very difficult. But as difficult as it was, I am glad that I knew her from my beginning unto her end. That in itself was a blessing that I still don't fully appreciate. And on top of that, so many people don't know people like that. You know, they don't have someone in their life that they knew from they were a child and know them until they depart. So many relationships nowadays, and sadly in this modern day and age, relationships are being presented as disposable. From casual to familial to romantic. You know, they're replaceable. Ghosting, whatnot. Just drop it. Let the bridge rot, no need to maintain it, because you're not going to cross it again. But that's not true. People are very precious. Family, friends, acquaintances even. And it's important to maintain all the bridges you have. Even if it's just the bare minimum of asking, how are you? What's going on? Even if it's just small talk. Being involved in some way, any way, with the people in your life is important and should be paramount to a degree. Because people at the end of the day are worth it. They're worth the effort, they're worth the pain, they're worth the struggle. They're worth it. I'm not saying you pull your heart out for your enemies, but for those who are even your enemies, should extend some grace and mercy. Not all of it, but some of it.
Not all of it. I like that. Some of it.
You know, one hand open for a handshake, the other on your sword, but just thinking on it. The last days of my grandmother were hard. The last words I heard from her were not pleasant, comforting, or inspiring. It was just her in pain. My last interaction with her, holding her hand and praying, knowing that that was the last time I was going to see her breathing. I don't feel deep sorrow over this because I don't hold on to it. As in, I don't treat her life and her death as a weight for me to carry, because it's not. Instead, I just choose to remember her from when I was small to when I was tall. From young to old to just now, just remembering her. Both good and bad. I try not to forget. I'd rather not forget. That's what it is.
That's good, man. That's good. Got a little emotional right there. For me, I would think I was 18 or 19 at the time. It was my first year with the company, and my grandmother, she, like as you, my grandmother was in the same position. She had heart failure and stuff like that, so she was on hospice, if I said it. Yeah, the medical. Yeah,
hospice.
yeah. We had to get the medical hospital bed, get it all set up and stuff like that. And this is this is around the time my family was really upside down. You know, me and then my grandfather, my uncles, my mom, my brother, and it was real rough at that time. You know, this is around the time when I graduated out of high school, 05. You know, trying to figure out what I was gonna do for my life and stuff like that, and had all these ideas of going to school, going to college, making something of myself. But then when she collapsed right in front of me, and broke her leg and all kind of pus and stuff. I had to put some pig stuff in her, just stick her and stuff. But I don't want to get into deep graphics. But I think I remember the last conversation I had with my grandmother. We was joking about something. She was making her laugh and stuff like that, teasing her and stuff. Me and my uncle. I was on the phone with one of my good friends that I grew up with in high school. And I always called her my sister. But we was really close and stuff like that. She was going to college at Arizona State at that time. I remember going in my grandmother's room, talking to her, and she was asking me to get her some water and stuff like that. And she asked me to turn the fan. She was feeling hot. But I remember she said, just do me one favor, grandson. I said, what's that, Granny? She said, just, look out for your grandfather. Even though sometimes I know he ain't in the right state of mind, but just look out for your grandfather for me. Because he's going to need you. So, okay, man. It was around the time her birthday was going to be the next day after. So my grandmother, my grandfather, my mom was out shopping for, surprise ring. And I was in there talking to this lady for like 2 seconds, and then my phone rang, which was my friend, so I stepped out to go, answer my phone, check on my friends, make sure she was okay. And then come back, my uncle was just messing with me. He said, Mama, fix your hair. But I know that she wasn't responding. So when I went over there, looked at her, I could tell she was gone. I didn't cry at first. I just knew that she ain't suffering no more. She rest in peace. It didn't hit me until after I told my friend hey, my grandmother just passed. She said, I'm so sorry. But I don't want to go to the details of that. I think the best conversation I had with my grandmother is just me telling her thank you for everything you've done for me, because my grandmother spoiled me. She spoiled me to death, and she spoiled me to the point that I didn't want nobody around my grandmother. I just wanted her all to myself, and I can take immense of that, because I didn't want not even my brother, I didn't want none of my cousins. I just wanted my grandparents all to my grandmother all to myself, because she spoiled me, because ain't nothing like grandmother's loving as well too.
I mean, my thing is, I never remember, I don't worry about the bad times. I always think of the opposite. What was all the good times that I had?
Yeah.
My grandmother, the one who would always listen to hip hop music. My grandmother, who's the one who, like, when she was able to go to my shows, that she was able to see me rock on the stage.
I think for me, watching my grandmother we cooking,
right.
what we cooking, she making something, we watching scary movies, or we watching, she recording something, and my grandmother was a big kid. She used to always
to have my grandmother there to see some of the stuff, to see the, not to just see the bad, but to see the success. She was able to see, myself on stage. She was able to see me and my sisters graduate high school and college. They were able to see it. So it wasn't, I don't focus on the bad things. I was happy that she
didn't see me graduate, but she was there. But she was alive when I graduated. And she hugged me right after I got. She hugged me so bad.
She was happy.
I'm so happy.
She was happy to see the process, and I was happy to show it to her. So she knew that, my grandkids ain't knuckleheads. They gonna be just fine. My grandkids do this. My grandmother was always proud that, hey, you're doing your music thing. You're out there doing shows. You're with your group, cross culture. You rocking. My grandmother was always in support. Anytime she could go, she would go. Stuff like that. And it was cool to have her in the audience to see it one time. Yeah. It was cool to go get scholarship awards, and my grandmother is there to see the scholarship awards. It was cool for that. That's the stuff that I would hold on to. Yeah, it was always fun to have my grandmother just hang out and talk, and we had the family functions at her house. So of course, we would have family functions all the time. you know. But and it's nothing like for me. It's like it was the small. It was never the big things. It was always the small stuff. Like when I have my birthday, and she will make me the coconut pineapple cake, the one that I can't. Even though I can make it, I can't duplicate it like hers because she made it for me. Why do you think that I bake now? It's because of her. Because you want to know why? When we do family functions, none of the cousins or whatnot bake. I do. Because that was the one thing that my grandmother instilled in me. It's what it is. That's why I do it. But I would rather remember that than the times when she was sick, the time when she was in a hospital. We kept running her back and forth to Kaiser way out in the sunset, like on the Hollywood sun. No. I mean, but I understand what y'all went through in that regard. I know what it's like for Victor to sit there holding his grandmother's hand and crying. I understand that. I understand what it's like when you guys saw your grandmother in the position. I understand that. I went through that too. But I choose to remember that stuff, and I choose to also let her know that, even though you're not here, we're good. Just like you wanted us to be. And it's not just that I'm good. Everybody around us is good. All the cousins is doing fine. Nobody's gotten relatively hurt. All her daughters and brothers is cool. They're getting older. Like my mom and them getting older and stuff. But everybody good. That's what my grandmother wanted. My grandmother wanted to leave the legacy. She did. Now, is it changed as far as like how we interact as a family since she's been gone? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that it's all bad. It's just different. That's the only thing that's different because when Grandmommy was there, Grandmommy was the glue to the whole family. Now that she's not there, everything's disjointed. We don't do collaborative Christmases anymore, collaborative Thanksgivings anymore, collaborative 4th of July anymore. Every single time there was an event, like a holiday, and my grandmother was alive, we was at my grandmother's house. Why? Because Grandmommy wanted us there. And it didn't matter what we was doing. It didn't matter what was going on. Unless, like, for me, if I had to work or something, that's, like, the exception. And even if I did have to work, guess what? If I worked in the morning, I pulled up in the afternoon. If I worked at night, I pulled up in the morning, said what's up, got a plate and dipped. That's how that went.
Well, this episode has certainly been a roller coaster. Starting off very humorous, very funny, and ending it on a more serious and, if not somber, but real note. Final thoughts, Paul?
Well, this has been somewhat.
It's been a goodie. It's been a goodie. It's just different. It's a goodie, though.
I will say this. Be careful with words you use around certain people.
Why now you want to get froggy now?
No, I'm just speaking on facts. I see stuff happen in the bad situation.
That's what I was trying to tell you about the little kids in the elementary school.
And that's how things go. But
who almost got their parents hemmed up. Anyway.
I know. I saw that. That was kind of bad. But anyway, that's another topic we talk about. But besides that, far as wise, slang and stuff like that. Really don't have nothing on that. I mean, stuff is still gonna be said, stuff is still gonna be done. It is what it is on that. I mean, unless we all can change, the hypocrisy of everything else. I think we pretty much have to worry about certain little things about if this word still could be used in a certain little language or certain period. So things happen for a reason. I mean, people still gonna say certain things, whether regardless if people like it or not. How you use the terms, but just be mindful. You might catch that friendly. That's all I'm gonna say on that one.
That's another one.
And
friendly.
I thought that was a little corny, but I still.
You gotta catch a friendly fade. You know what it is.
And then the last but not least, always remember all the good times you have with your siblings, because you never know when anything can be transparent or happen the next day.
Big.
Well, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, dear listeners and viewers of our content and of this episode, Today's topics were that of slang and grandparents. Interesting. Both things relating to the way back when times. In our past, your past even, the collective past, the human past, family, personal, friend, don't matter. That's what we kind of talked about today, the past. And hopefully you can reflect on yours. Whether it's humorous or somber, joyful or sad. We hope you get some value out of this, even but for a moment, to make it worth your time. And if you've been with us for a while, well, let me say thank you for making us part of your past, for sticking with us for so long. It's something we cannot truly repay, not with a giveaway or a gift card, or even cash, because the time you've given us is irreplaceable. And we thank you for giving us more of it. I don't have much to say besides that, except Cameron, tell the people what they want to hear.
Tell the people what they want to hear. I don't tell them what they want to hear. I tell them what they need to hear. It's a difference. So, a few things. One, we appreciate y'all rocking along with us this far in the podcast. Hopefully y'all got some good insight to what the few topics that we talked about today. And if you got this far along and y'all ain't like the page by this point in time, come on now. You know, take a little 2 seconds, click the page, like the page, slide down, scroll down, hit the little thumbs up button. We appreciate it. Y'all know that.
Do it.
Yeah, like the page. You know, give us some love. Appreciate you.
It makes Paul smile.
Yes, it does. It keeps him shining. You know, keeps his wrist on freeze and everything.
He'll get 3 watches.
Exactly. Keep his wrist on freeze and everything.
It's like, wait a minute, that's an ankle monitor.
Wow.
So the one thing is this. I think I'm gonna end it with this, and I think I'm gonna flip it to what the boy said. I know we were like, yo, we're talking about the past and the past. One thing about me that I always tell people, like, I understand, I remember the past, I can recall it a lot of what happened in the past, but here's what I don't do. I don't dwell on the past. I don't let my past hold me back. I look about what did I learn in that process in the past to get me to where I need to go in the future. I think that's the one thing that anybody who's been around me and who's like influenced me, including my grandmother, she will be the ones to say that, look, keep moving forward, keep pushing forward, keep striving for excellence. That means you do it with forward motion. It's not about holding on to what's in the past. If you start holding on to everything in the past, you're going to be held down, and that's going to be the one thing that will prevent you from moving forward in the future. Move forward. You know, yes, I celebrate my grandmother daily, but you'll be like, well, how? It's the same way that I celebrate my father daily who passed. And and cousins and all that stuff. Why? Because I choose to move forward. I take everything that I learned from them and establish it in everything that I do now, whether it's simple or complex, and I move forward and be a living demonstration of the things that I was taught. That's what my grandmother would want. That's what my father would want. That's what my other grandparents, my dad's side of the family would want. Would want me to just live and continue to be an example, push forward. That's what my grandmother wanted. That's why when she said, I want to make sure Cam was good, because she knew that there needed to be enough of us in our family that was moving forward, who was setting the standard for the generation to come, which in my case would have been my 2 kids. And my 2 kids are doing extremely well. But part of that is because I had to make sure I kept it together. That I didn't fall back into things that happened in the past. That I moved forward. That I wasn't always down because of things that happened that was bad. Yes, when my grandmother passed, it was bad. But I knew what she wanted is for me to don't worry about the bad stuff. Focus on the good stuff and start pushing forward and be an example. So when I look down from heaven, I want to know that you making motion. I want to know that your motion is going strong. I want to know that you're setting an example for others to follow. I want you to understand that when it's time for you to have kids and stuff, that your kids are setting the example. That's what it comes down to. So, that's how I would take it. Hey, don't think of it as a negative. Think of it as a positive. Be an example. Move forward. Everybody around you is going to love, respect, all that. When you're not hanging on to your past. A lot of people mess up their life because they're so worried about what happened before and not worrying about what's happening now or what's happening ahead. And speaking of what's happening ahead, we got a lot of stuff happening ahead. A lot of stuff with the podcast happening ahead. We got a movie project coming up. We're in the trenches. I got the squad in the trenches later on today in prep work. Moving ahead. We got interviews ahead. We got other opportunities that's ahead.
We cooking.
You know, you may not see, but you gonna smell.
Wow. I should have said we cooking.
What the rock? But y'all gonna see what we doing.
You gotta finish the whole slang, dog. You think
No. I'll let them finish. I'm just like a battle rapper. I don't have to say the whole thing. I'll let y'all finish it.
You know what I mean?
You know, all gas,
No brakes.
all that slang stuff. And it's funny because, you know, even with that regard, I don't think that we would ever get from a day and age and a space where slang is not going to be utilized. I think even your most proper speaking people, when they're comfortable, they'll use slang. Even your people like, dog, they businessmen and all this stuff, let them get comfortable. They'll use it too. They're not that far removed from it. Some of them, even the ones that you think, the so-called dirty ones who think they don't know what they're talking about with slang, they use it too. I'm going to be honest with you, they use their own little version of slang that y'all don't even know. There's a different world for that too. Everybody got slang. I think slang is not going away. I just think that you just have to understand that in certain respects that, like Paul said, there's certain things that you've got to be mindful of when you say. There's certain things that you've got to be mindful that may not be cool anymore, like calling a girl fat.
Anyways.
I had to leave it on that because that was funny because he was dead right when it comes to fat. But besides that, before we head out, let me shout out to all the affiliates, of course. Shout out to World Heat Entertainment, J Slang, all the boys. Hey, Dirty Joe, we got you on your project. You know, keep pushing and grinding. Of course, Z, we'll see you soon. I know you're supposed to be with us last week, but we'll set it up when we get you on the table soon. We are going to be podcasting with the crew from the movie project. We'll be doing that after we get this third episode off. We're going to sit down with all the cast and members for that. That is down the line. We got other projects that's working. We got a lot of stuff that's spinning right now. So just keep riding along with us. This is a good time. Start looking forward, fellas. We got a lot of things that's going to be in motion pretty shortly here. So just keep locked in. For all the fans, I would definitely appreciate each and every one of y'all. Tell your mamas about us. You know, we doing some stuff here.
Remember,
tell your baby mama.
tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your lover, tell your wife, tell your girlfriend.
Don't do that. Because Mr. Steal Your Girl here. Yeah.
With 2 watches.
Don't put me in this.
Mr. Steal Your Girl over here.
I don't steal nobody's girls.
But no,
I love your chick. Shut up. Let me complain. Anyway, let me get us up out of here, y'all. For my bad Paul, for my bad Big, my name is Cam, aka Mr. Nerd Boy Fresh.
Freaky.
Like always, it is God above everything. Till the next time, family, we will do this again soon.
Much love and respect.
Salute.